Hello and welcome to Money Lap. It is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, and this is Money Lap Group Chat. We're going to dive into a bunch of big topics today. One of the biggest, a new lawsuit in the NASCAR Cup Series over a charter. Or, more news in that realm. And we've got some sponsorship news, some TV ratings, some updates on what's happening in Fontana and the idea of NASCAR racing in the Southern California market. We've got some comparison of the size of F1 cars, of course, and much, much more. It's Money Lap Group Chat. Let's go. Not my smoothest intro. Won't lie.
Yeah, I need to work on that.
That needs to be
You're
done.
usually now.
I know. I just wasn't.
First try. Usually,
I should have just restarted, but we're too far in now, so I can't.
Yeah, we can't go back.
No, yeah. I'm just gonna have to deal with that. I kind of rushed us into it, and then next thing I knew, there we were. Right. Yeah. So let's go to the biggest news, boys. We should also say no guest this week on this edition of Money Lap on Wednesday. So it's just us. Maybe a little shorter episode. We'll see. But the big news was Legacy Motor Club, owned by Jimmy Johnson, partially owned by Jimmy Johnson and Maury Gallagher, has filed a lawsuit against Ware Racing, claiming Ware Racing is trying to back out of a signed agreement to sell one of his charters. This was broken by Jordan Bianchi and Adam Stern. There was some descriptions in the lawsuit via Legacy saying that described Ware Racing in its suit as strapped for cash and unable to compete at the Cup Series level. At the exact same time that Legacy has charted a path forward, RWR has flagged and flailed in the rear. So some really incendiary comments about one of the competitors. It was also said,
that's a little uncalled for.
Yeah, it was also said though that sources told Jordan Bianchi that Ware was under the impression the charter transfer to Legacy would be for 2027 after signing the agreement, which had 2026 in it. Ware Racing said it will not close the deal and Legacy sued. So a lot of stuff to unpack there. Once again, as we've done through most of the legal stories that come through this show, is that we're not lawyers, so we're not going to dive too deeply into the legal side. But I think what is interesting about this, one, still, even with the lawsuit between 2311 Front Row and NASCAR going on, which has put some of the charters potentially in jeopardy, there's still transfers occurring, which is a big deal. I would have thought that kind of came to a more of a simmer at this moment as people try to understand what's happening. But Legacy Motor Club ownership still moving forward, trying to expand. I think that is important as you look ahead in the coming decade of NASCAR. Having 3 cars is important for the idea of with the next gen that there's sort of a cost. What's the term I'm looking for? Oh no, it's a business term. Where's Landon?
Huh. I'm not gonna be able to help
you
you there.
Where's the business term here? The cost gets spread out. Cost gets spread out over 3 things. I know the term. But
P&L?
No, it's not
P&L. Cost benefit analysis.
P&L. No, it's this is gonna bug me. Anyway,
you just call Landon right now and then
we call ourselves the Money Lap. We don't even know business.
Yeah, what the heck,
honestly,
dude?
I'm having an off day. I should just say right off the bat, tough day for Parker here. Tough couple days in the old stomach department. Don't know what's going on. Struggling there. Yeah, box both mornings. Stomach not feeling well both times. Not sure. Maybe have a bug. So not a great time for me. Brain is struggling as well.
No.
Yeah. Tough. You know what happens? I have an off week. The first time since basically before the Rolex, mid-January. And that's when my body just becomes decrepit and falls apart.
Oh.
Yeah. Right when it gets a chance to relax.
You save for feeling old until you're off weekends, and then you let your old out on the off weekends, and then you're like, all right, back at it. Got to be young again.
No, I'm not old. That's the thing. I'm not old. It's just like all the I feel like what happens is my body knows it can't be sick for all these things because everything I do requires me to be at like 100%, whether it's on TV or driving a race car or whatever. And then I have an off week and I kind of relax, and all those sicknesses inside my body just take over at once. It happens at the end of every season. although I fended it off this past off season because I went race the Rolex, so I couldn't get sick, pounded vitamins, and never got the postseason flu, which I was really happy about. So
I thought you came back from the Rolex feeling awful. Am I
no, before the
misremembering
Rolex.
this?
No, I'm saying
Oh,
end of
before.
last season, before the
Okay.
Rolex. Like usually, right around after Thanksgiving, early December, I get like the flu. Just guarantee it, 100% out,
Mhm.
down for the count. And I didn't get it this year, this past season. So, but yeah, right after the Rolex, I got deathly ill for a bit. So my body just, once again, it
Waited.
just sort of knew to hold off, and then I had this pact with it, which I was like, and I made a pact with my body the week before the Rolex. I was like, look, everyone around here is sick. You cannot get sick, but the day after, or the when that stroke, when the clock hits 2 p.m. on Sunday, get as sick as you want to be. And sure enough, that next day, deathly ill. So it knows. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about here.
No, not a thing. I still don't know the term that you were talking about, but I assume you're saying spreading out their overhead over multiple assets, or
It's at the tip of my tongue, and I
Okay.
just can't find it. This is the most frustrating thing I've ever been done in my life.
Can you describe the concept for us?
Yeah, the concept would be that having two economies of scale. That's what I was looking for, boys.
There it is.
We're
It's
in
not
the
even a
game
word.
now.
That's 3 words.
Economy.
We're in the game. Economies of scale. That's what I was looking for. There is a thought process that 3 cars is like the perfect with the next gen car for economies of scale. And so essentially saying that, you can add 1 or 2 and it kind of doubles the cost, but adding a third is not a tripling of the cost is the idea. So kind of a magic number for a cup team right now. So Legacy Motor Club trying to get there. I do think they do a great job of their presentation. Obviously, a lot of cool sponsors that have come through there, and I think they just do an overall good job. On-track performance was a struggle last season, moving to Toyota. This season, I've seen a slight uptick, especially in speed. Don't quite have the results, but John Hunter Nemechek has held on with some great getting a lot of points, and so finding themselves in a way better points position than they were this time last year. So I'd say some of that stuff is working. But anyway, this whole deal is interesting because Rick Ware has kind of been the go-to thought process when everyone's like, I need a charter. Like you think, or you look at some team, it's like, I'm going to expand. You're like, all right, they'll go buy Rick Ware out. Like that's just how it's going to go. But he's held on, and I was surprised to see this. I had heard there was some stuff going on under in conversations, but I wasn't exactly sure what it was. And so we'll see how this how this goes. We haven't really seen, I feel like, this level of altercation around a charter, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So
How do you think like manufacturers or maybe owners, like potential owners that want to get into the sport, view this legal battle? Do you think it'll make them be like, ooh, I don't know, they're clearly not doing stuff right over there. NASCAR is not like officiating the transfer. I don't want to buy one now. Do you think anything like that?
it's a good question. I think for manufacturers, no, they don't care. Like they just let it figure itself out. It's not really their place.
Oh yeah, sorry, I meant like a new manufacturer that would get charters themselves or something.
Yeah, I mean, potentially, but I think a manufacturer would probably be very involved with NASCAR in making that happen. I think it does. It will have ripple effects. It will, especially as more information comes out, and if they do end up in a legal proceeding or don't just find some settlement sort of deal, because it is sort of an open market in that sense, right? And there aren't a lot of guardrails. You do have to be approved by NASCAR, and the transfer does have to be approved, but it is still 2 private parties sort of negotiating and coming to terms. So, I don't know if it really has a major effect unless NASCAR would be more involved, but I don't really think they can be because of the design of it. So, yeah, I think it's going to have to sort of play out and see where it ends up and see how the how it affects potentially this transfer and what the ramifications that going forward will be interesting for sure.
So, do you mind if I share a quick thought on this one?
No, we're gonna move on. All right, see you later, guys.
If what Legacy is saying is true, I got a lot of thoughts on team owners, and this is the second time in the last 6 months that team owners are complaining about something being in a contract that they didn't know of, that they signed. One is the promoter's provisional that caught people off guard for the last charter agreement. And then now Rick Ware saying, or Legacy saying Rick Ware didn't read the agreement that they signed. I mean, it always comes down to the final thing. Read the damn document if you're going to sign it.
You mean read the fine print? Yeah. Well,
just read it.
Give you the most important parts. That's the really easy way to go through a document.
Yeah, I mean that if that's what you need to do, that works. But if it's true and what they say, I mean, this is a clear cut case. I mean, I'd be shocked if it even goes much further than a summary judgment by the judge. So,
yeah. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so we'll see. But definitely, the legal stuff. I find it intriguing, but I also sit there and I'm like, we're just gonna slowly but surely learn information, and similar to the NASCAR versus 2311 and FRM side, each bit of information will change people's view of who is in the right and who's not, and it eventually finds itself into court, or it doesn't. It's settled and that sort of thing, and everyone sort of figures out the truth on the other side. But the sort of idea of speculating and that sort of stuff, it seems so frustrating to me, because the legal process is a process, and you only get so much information that at each time, and you only get as much information as often some of the people involved want to give, right? So,
well, here's something you don't have to speculate on, which
what's
is
that?
Legacies. What they say at the beginning, Rick Ware Racing is like
a poverty franchise
behind from last place. It's like didn't one of your cars finish like 33rd in points last year, and the other one 28th or something?
Yes.
That's a little. They didn't have to go that hard, especially when if it's like Hendrick versus Rick Ware, it's like okay, nice zinger, but Legacy. Let's settle down a little bit. All right, settle down the PR department.
Oh,
let's get a couple more top 10s this year.
Well, with facts right now, they definitely, as an organization.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny.
No, that's pretty good. It's pretty fresh. I'm with you on that one. Well, we'll see where it goes. I think it's not. We'll find out more.
Not on the thing that I find very interesting after all this is to see what the number, if a number ever gets released, does come out to be for this charter. Because if BJ McLeod was the best charter at $40 million at the time, or whatever the number ended up being, that meant either Rick Ware was just it wasn't for sale, or his number was higher than that 40 million. So I really am interested to see where this number ends up coming out to.
Yeah, because
that'll tell us a little bit about what people think of maybe the lawsuit that's currently pending between 23 Front Row and NASCAR, and the long-term viability of these charters, and what people think the value is of them. So definitely curious. We'll get a market update on that.
Yeah, what we don't know is, when the BJ McLeod's was sold and the Live Fast one, the thought, there was still maybe hope that these would be made permanent. That did not happen in the latest charter agreement. It was just a 7-year agreement. And now, with that said, the other reason his potentially went for as much as it did was knowing that they would have the level of increase that they got, which essentially doubled the money for these charters in terms of what they're guaranteed revenue wise. So, that can change some of the math on what they're worth and that sort of thing. So that is a good point. What were they agreeing to trade at? and that would give you a definite market update. I'd have to think their charter is probably one of the lowest in terms of revenue that's guaranteed, but it definitely will kind of set the floor of the price of these charters right now. So let's talk more money stuff, guys. This one a little bit more interesting.
Oh boy.
We did get an update on Fontana, and this comes from the Hauler Talk podcast.
Finally.
I know NASCAR's Hauler Talk podcast, which had Commissioner Steve Phelps, newly minted Commissioner Steve Phelps.
No, that's going to take
a ring to it.
Yeah.
I kind of like
used to.
No, I know. I like the term. It works.
I like it. It's better than whatever the hell it was before. President. It's like, all right.
Well, Steve O'Donnell.
Commissioner has some power,
Yeah, it does seem really
serious. Yeah. Steve O'Donnell's the president now, but commissioner's like this guy's like, this is the guy,
Yeah. Next time I see Steve Phelps, who's always been, Steve's great in the last couple of years, always makes a point to say hi, that sort of thing. Especially when I was racing, you'd see him on the grid and he'd go up and shake all our drivers' hands and say, hey, good luck. Have a safe race.
I noticed that.
So
I noticed that every race I go to,
at
some point on the grid, he'll walk by and he'll shake every single driver's hand. Yeah.
Yep. It's really cool. It's very cool of him. So next time I see him, though, I'm definitely be like, yo, Commish, what up? He said that on that podcast that the Southern California market in Fontana is important in NASCAR, but that it's going to take $300 million to build a new facility there. And his full answer written out here was, the market is important market for us. What the future of that particular facility is, I'm still unsure. We would like to build a new facility at Fontana. It would be a short track because we don't have room for anything else, frankly. Do I think creating a short track out there would be a cool thing for us? Yes. With that said, it's about $300 million to build that facility. Is that the best use of that money? That is the big question. The cost of capital right now is still really high. So for us to just press pause right now is essentially what we're doing. Trying to be as transparent about that as possible. But yeah, I'd love to build a facility out there. When that is going to happen, or if that is going to happen, I don't have a timeline. And that number is ginormous. It's not crazy for a permanent facility, but it is a large number. If you think about like the idea that the Chicago street course costs roughly around $50 million. Now that's probably per year. The Clash was a very expensive race for them as well. This actually has a facility, but they've kind of shrunk it so much in selling the major portion of the land that they did. The idea of what else can be done there aside from races would be a question. And then the last part of what he brought up is kind of what everyone's going through in America right now, which is that money costs a lot. The interest rates are high. That's why it costs a lot to buy houses, to get mortgages, to take loans. And for them, of course, they wouldn't do this in cash. That would be some sort of loan, construction loan, and eventually a property loan and that sort of thing. And that's just a large amount of debt to take on for, what might be a very limited use facility. So we'll see. I don't know what the future is like them. It's unfortunate because that is a great market. It's always awesome to go to LA. We should be in LA. NASCAR should be in LA. But could you spend $100 million and do it differently and not have to do it at that facility that's way outside LA, right? Or more or less.
Yeah, I wonder if the capital, like how expensive it is to do, like build something like that right now versus, what it was 10 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine I feel like that's probably a big part of it. That's probably the biggest part, I feel like.
It's got
like, let's not do it now. What if we just wait for 5 years and it'll be, we'll save $50 million doing it or something.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure it's not that much, but
you just have to wonder, like, what is the gain versus, just being in that market versus that outlay of capital and the cost of that and the detriment it puts other events and sort of expansion efforts, at that it just, and I don't know if the return is there, right? To just be in LA. It'd be an hour and a half outside LA, actually.
So the land value itself, like assuming they sell the land, that's going to give them another massive cash injection. You have that San Diego street course that's been floated for the last couple of years that, I'm sure they're waiting to see where those negotiations go. Because if Chicago costs $50 million to run, how many years of San Diego can you get out of that same amount of funding? And is that going to have a bigger impact for building a new audience or reaching out to a new audience than if we did a short track at Auto Club? Now, I will say, Irwindale shut down, and now Southern California is really, really strapped for any sort of racing, like premier racing venues. There's a small short track around the corner from where Auto Club used to be, but definitely not capable of holding any sort of premier racing series, even down to ARCA. I think it would be a lot to get out of that. And so that's Kern County, which is literally, you can't even call that Los Angeles anymore. That's 3 hours outside of the city center. You can't just kick all of those people that had built up local racing there. So it'd be sad to see this go, because I feel like the track could get utilized a lot, especially with the lack of Irwindale being down there now. And I'm just kind of disappointed, because there's a lot of people in that area that are now missing out on not just NASCAR racing, but racing in general. So,
well, you got Long Beach, which you're going to this year.
Yeah, I mean more
Also,
short track racing. So
wait, I am disappointed. You call it San Diego. It's San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anchorman.
I didn't know there was an A in the name.
Oh.
It's from Anchorman. You're not a man of culture, I can tell.
Sorry. I watched Minecraft back then. I didn't. Or I played Minecraft.
Goodness.
Gen
Z.
Yeah, we were watching Minecraft YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Learn how to build houses.
You're now Gen Zero.
Little PewDiePie.
Gen
Dogs,
Zero.
cats.
Yeah, little PewDiePie. Whoever else played Minecraft back then.
If they did, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but my point more was we have an entire short track scene down there that is completely unserved, and that's sad. And everyone, you gotta feel for everyone who had built up, their own little race team down there, because it's not just, big people, big shops. There's people who have little 4-cylinders that love to race at these short tracks and just want to go out and have fun on the weekend. And now there's no place for them to do that if they want to not drive 4 hours.
LA, void of racing facilities, with it being one of the biggest car market, like car culture market in the United States too. Every car culture person on YouTube is in LA. Every single, it feels like big car culture thing comes out of LA, and now you only have Long Beach basically.
Yeah, and SCCA has nowhere to run because they're not running Long Beach. So, yeah.
Jeez, where will they run the Lemons?
Dude, I know. I'm so sad. It's disappointing.
I won my first ever Formula car race at Fontana. So
really,
yeah,
on the oval or like
on
the infield.
It was the half oval. It was a roval. It was partially part of the oval and the infield road course. Yeah, back Formula TR, Formula Renault back in the day.
I loved that roval because it just felt like the parking lot for all of the campers, just slightly modified.
Kind of was. It was a wild. That was wild course, and that's when I was racing the Alexander Rossi and such. So,
yeah, where he to finish? That's what I was going to ask.
Not first, obviously.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't know if he was in that first race. Did he show up that one? I don't know. I can't. I don't remember. I mean, I just remember winning. The first race was in like a torrential downpour, and we made it like 3 laps, and there was 2 classes. There was Formula Renault 2 liter and Formula Renault 1.6 liter. I was in the 1.6 liter. The 2 liters were way faster than us, but in just like 2 or 3 laps in a torrential downpour, I had driven to be passing the leader of the 2 liter, and they threw the red flag. So I was at a different zip
Parker
code.
is good at rain racing.
Yeah, well, there's a joke there. Every driver is like, "I'm great in the rain. Just get me to the rain." And it's like, well, only a few actually are good in the rain.
I feel like you actually are pretty good.
I've won almost
in the rain,
most of the rain races I've ever done. Yeah, and I remember Mid Ohio qualifying in 2022 was in the rain, and we were 2 seconds faster in the field. And I was like, "No, don't pull me in. I can go a second faster." And then it dried up, and I only got beat by half a second by Corey Heim, just where we were both in the front row. Because they didn't do a third round. I would have won a damn pole. I was pissed about that one. Anyway, something that 2311
would the next day.
Yeah, we did. We won the big prize. 2311 would not be angry with right now, and that is the idea of getting some more money. They just signed Robinhood as a sponsor, which is the sort of fintech trading platform that blew up over COVID when everyone was trading on there and buying options and making tons of money and losing tons of money. And they're now going to serve as a primary sponsor for 4 races this year, 2 on Bubba Wallace's car and 2 on the number 67 of Corey Heim. Speaking of Corey Heim, so kind of cool. I thought that was a very cool get for NASCAR. Cool for 2311 to bring in a partner like that. I haven't seen a render of any cars, but knowing their colors, I think that is going to be a really cool looking car.
I like that. Yeah, it looks nice. What's your
brand
portfolio look like?
What's that?
What's your Robinhood portfolio look like?
Man, during COVID, I made a ton of money and then I blew it all on different options. So, yeah, basically back to zero. I don't know. I think I have a little bit still in there in just stupid little things, but I definitely was the COVID day trading story of some buddies and I were like, oh, we're going to use this thing. And we made a lot of money and then blew it on bad options. So basically gambling. It was gambling. Let's just be honest.
Good times.
Yeah, I wish I had it back. Wish I just put it all into Tesla and never looked again.
Or Apple.
Or Apple.
Yeah.
Name anything, basically.
Any big company.
I'm surprised people are still using Robinhood. I was surprised to see that they were still doing as good as they were. Yeah, I mean, the last I really...
Is there a bigger player now?
No, it was just... I remember during the whole GameStop ordeal that Robinhood froze trading on GameStop. And it was, or buying or whatever on GameStop, even though there was no freeze from the SEC. So I remember that being a very strange time. And a lot of people were upset with them. But you know what? Hey, if they happy to see people are able to bounce back from that, and now they're bringing.
They are one of the simplest brokerage platforms. There is no doubt about that. The interface makes it incredibly easy.
I have not been able to log into my account for years.
You might be a millionaire.
Literally.
I
had like $100 into it, but I can't log into it. It's like I get to the point where like I'm trying to, because I don't have the email that I think I set up with it or the phone number. So they're like, "Oh, just call us," and I'm like, I haven't worked myself up to doing that yet. So,
all right, Robinhood, if you're listening, and Vlad,
hook me up.
the CEO and founder, can you help AJ out? He'd like his $100.
Yeah,
or at least be able to see where it's at. It might be more than 100. It could be less.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know if it was just like on my account or if I bought something with it. I don't know. But I remember it was around $100.
This is such a 2020 COVID story. Like, wait, there's money in that thing. Wait a second, I want it back,
dude. I got a check back from one of the crypto companies. I was like, oh man, $8. I had no idea I had $8 on there.
I'm rich. We're going to the most expensive meal you've ever had. Hi, we'll do a number one.
Yeah, I'll get.
Oh, you can afford the number one.
Yeah, number one. That's actually it's gotten away from you there. Sorry.
Sandwich only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll have a single. I will have a single chicken nugget. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you very much. One thing that happened this past weekend at Martinsville was the Penske cars were having some electrical troubles, namely the number 2 and number 21. Our buddy Bozy Tatarevic went into this in detail on Twitter and how the idea of trying to run smaller alternators for weight reasons could have put them at a over usage of the alternator basically. And then every team brings like a couple backup batteries, and like the number 2 team ran out of batteries. So they had 2 backups. They changed them and ended up running out and had to basically retire after that. So that's all in the effort. We talked about on Monday with Landon, the idea that there's so much to be gained from lowering the weight and the CG of these cars at the mile and a half, considering they're spec cars. So if you're going to make gains, you're going to push the weight to the nth degree and try to make it the lightest and lowest weight possible. And with that, the number 43 was disqualified for pushing it too closely, apparently in their wording, and did not appeal their disqualification for being too light. So I think this will be a trend. No doubt about it. People will keep trying to push the issue. There's so much performance gain from weight and where you place that weight. And we had that discussion last year on Money Lap about driver weight and how it's become a big topic in the last year or two. in that with this car, how light that driver is, even though we're all rated and equalized, it's still it still can be a bit of an advantage to have a lighter driver, a smaller driver, that sort of thing. So, it's getting that scienced out. And I'm not surprised to see issues like this. And I just think you'll continue to see it, especially at places like Martinsville, flat tracks, Gateway, New Hampshire. There's a lot to be gained there.
Phoenix.
Do you
Phoenix.
do you guys still eat
Are
ice
you ready for the
cream?
championship finale?
Yeah. Do you guys still eat a ton of ice cream over winter break so that you weigh in heavy and then just train like crazy?
I did. Yeah, I did. Actually, this year I couldn't be fat for weigh-in. So because I had to train so hard for the Rolex, I couldn't do my normal thing. Show up there just fat and pale every time to Daytona. So yeah, it just didn't work. Couldn't do it this time. So I was definitely lighter. I met a higher weight range than I normally operate at, but it was barely. Like it wasn't enough. So I was too fit, guys.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good thing you still won Daytona. So
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it worked. Maybe it was the opposite. Maybe I've been doing it all wrong all these years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all it took to win Daytona, to just be my actual weight. Maybe just be fit, I guess. Maybe that was the difference maker. There was a lot of controversy around the Xfinity Series race this past weekend. We dived a lot into it on Monday. Obviously, it was just a pretty disgusting display of driver etiquette and overzealous moves at Martinsville. And the most egregious of that was Sammy Smith at the end of the race, plowing into the back of Taylor Gray in the final corners, not even winning the race because he barely made the corner, gifting the win to Austin Hill, who had some run-ins as well. Well, NASCAR did penalize Sammy Smith for this. He was docked 50 points for taking out Taylor Gray at the end of the Xfinity race and fined $25,000. So a pretty similar penalty.
I love the top comment.
Well, hold on. It was a pretty similar penalty to Cindric at Coda. Taylor Gray and Jeb Burton were fined $5,000 each for going into the care center area to confront drivers, which we saw Taylor Gray do that to Sammy Smith. Jeb put out a statement saying that basically, he accepts it, but he was pretty hot from the last corner wreck and wanted to let them know that he was pretty hot about it. So a lot of things coming out of that race. What is this first comment on this tweet from Bob Pockris?
Somebody responded to it. They said, "No wonder nobody watches anymore. Rubbin is racing."
Hell yeah, brother. Come on.
I really enjoyed the race. I didn't think Sammy Smith's move at the end was cool. I didn't have a problem with the rest of it. I was like, oh, let's go. Let's do another green white checkered. I'm down for it. I ain't got nothing to do tonight. Oh, you gonna watch college basketball? No.
Yeah. Not gonna watch that. Jeez.
No.
God, what do you think I am? I don't watch college basketball.
I did 2 brackets and I was still in like the top 20, actually top 15 for one bracket and top 20 for the other. And I did like the way I picked it was like it chose for me off of like the most picks from other people, and it was trending pretty high. So,
wow. So you're in like a league, or is this like when you say top 15, like top 15%?
I did brackets. Oh no, yeah, these are private brackets.
You can do like leagues.
One has like 300 people. One has like 25. But the one that has 25 pays, that one pays 7,500 Doge to win. So haven't done math.
I thought
what is the
context?
dollars?
What's that?
How much is 7,500 Doge? I'm gonna look that up.
I don't know what's Doge at 30 cents. I didn't even know that was still 20 cents a Dogecoin. It's from
it's like a couple $100
company I'm involved in. All right. Well, hey.
Okay.
Making money.
I
mean, I don't think I can win it,
worth of $1,270.82 as of right now.
Well, hell,
it's way more.
I could put it into Robinhood.
Hey,
and promptly lose it all on options.
Yeah.
You guys weren't alone watching the Xfinity race, by the way. I was on the broadcast. Adam Stern reporting the CW once again topped 1 million viewers for a NASCAR Xfinity Series race. With Saturday's action at Martinsville, 1.014 million. The first time since 2017 that the series has done that over the first 7 events of the season. Saturday's viewership was up 19% from last year. Continued great ratings for the old Xfinity Series. Classic stock car racing. Love to see it.
Love to see it.
Was last year rained out at all?
No,
No.
it was
Okay.
there. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure the context there was the up 19%. There was no rain or anything other than that. So that's
Is that
amazing.
one? No, that one I finished like 12th or 15th in. I can't remember. I think we got a left rear tire cut down last year's April race. I was trying to remember how it went. The year before, the fall race was where we finished top 10 after going 4 laps down. And
I remember that.
the car being absolutely destroyed. But my team owner, Scott Borchetta, had come on and been like, hey, $1,000 bonus to everyone if you get a top 10 in the middle of the race. And I was like, all right, we're going to make it happen. And we made it happen in like a big crash at the end. And the car was actually, when they're replaying some of the incidents from the past races, every time they show that finish of the 2023 fall race, you see me being spun out of like 5th. I was going to be like 5th. And I'm turned just before the line, still end up 10th with a destroyed race car. So it's been a trend. I remember that series there. And the Eric Peterson, who is the series director for the Xfinity series, was also on the Holler Talk podcast, and he said we want to address the entire field soon. And I know they told us that we do a competition meeting with them each week, and they were pretty open about wanting to find time to talk to all the drivers in the Xfinity series and explain why that race was probably a little too far. So, or way too far. Kind of disgusting in a lot of respects. Even though you guys thought it was entertaining.
I mean, I thought it was silly.
That's what I came in to expect, you know? Sorry, Josh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, don't
apologize to him.
The drivers that
I
are
take
there.
that back, Josh.
Okay. No, it's fine. I get it. It's okay. That's what we're here for. It's Martinsville, baby. I expect to be cut off. So, anyways, the thing that it's not surprising to me though, because nothing changed from trucks to Xfinity. And I know that a couple of our commenters on the Monday video said that they're like, why are we surprised that this is happening? This was happening in trucks. These guys have been slowly moving up through the ranks and nothing is being adjusted. Nobody's course correcting for them. So they're just going to keep carrying that to the next series. And I tend to agree. I think it's great that Sammy Smith is getting penalized because at least there is some sort of, like, hey, that's not the right decision. Whether or not this is the right way to go, I don't know. Post-race things, like we had the whole discussion on Monday. We don't want to open that can of worms, but I just think it's not necessarily fun to watch. It's engaging, that's for sure, and maybe that's what NASCAR wants. But I feel like anyone who is a racing purist is going to look at that and say, that's not racing. That's just wrecking. And it's sad. It's sad.
It sucks because those cars put on a great race there without a ton of carnage at times. And they can, and it's just classic stock cars at Martinsville. It's great. The Dale Jr. on his podcast, Dale Jr. Download, talked about how he just would love to see more in-race officiating, essentially. And obviously we dove deep in that with Landon and Brendan Queen, Butterbean on Monday. But he, even elected to have himself and Denny Hamlin go up in the booth and make those calls for them in terms of penalties in the race. He mentioned the Cars Tour. Basically, if you're involved in the incident, you go to the back. So if you get spun out by someone, you go to the back. And, that's...
If you're spun out, you're going to the back. Anyways.
Yeah, well, but if you were the person doing the spinning, you're going to the back. Yeah, so it's like this idea of, hey, there is just everyone's at fault for the incident, which is one way to do it. I don't know if that's correct. In NASCAR, I think you would probably handcuff the drivers too much. But there's probably a fine line there. In talking to NASCAR, they did tell me that, they've been hesitant to do that sort of thing in race because they believe that they have so much information to look through when an incident occurs that given just the time between, the race happening and a Tuesday, they can really decide what the level and severity of it, if they called it right, if they viewed it right, that sort of thing, which I empathize with, because their point being, if we call it wrong, there's a lot at stake. And especially with the idea of winning you're in and the what that designs in terms of or what that incentivizes in terms of how important wins are, to just do that really quickly in a reactionary move maybe isn't the best way to handle it because there's so much at stake. So I see both sides. In race penalties, wait and get the right determination. Maybe there's happy medium.
Couldn't she say that about anything though?
Yeah.
Like there's even incidents where NASCAR themselves admit that they made a mistake. So it's like, why are you being so hesitant to go this path? It's like, that's the reason why you don't want to do it.
That's a good question. I don't know.
No.
I don't have the answer.
To me, I'm wondering, like, how many times would an in-race penalty, like, I feel like we've needed to call on the idea of an in-race penalty for out-of-bounds maneuvers. I mean, they've said it themselves. Does the move pass the sniff test or does it cross the line? There is a line. They know where it is.
I don't think anyone's sniffing.
Yeah, the eye test, the sniff test, whatever you want to call it. But they've already referred to it didn't pass the eye test, and we all knew that something needed to be done. I feel like that's happened twice in the last year and a half, 2 years. I mean, it's not that hard. We all leave knowing something should happen. Like, why are we waiting till Tuesday? And then you got to explain.
What would we do on these shows all week?
Yeah,
think about us.
True. How are we going to speculate?
Yeah. How can we speculate and just conversate for endless amounts of time about?
We'll find a way.
Pontificate.
We'll find a way. Exactly. We'll analyze the in-race penalty and say, was it worthy of one? And then come up with a great title that people think is clickbait, but we feel is a 10 out of 10.
Oh, we will definitely talk about that in a minute. Speaking of Dale Jr. and the Cars Tour, big news for them. He announced this on his podcast this week, but they are going to have they've entered into a historic agreement, according to the Cars Tour, with FS1 and Flow Racing to broadcast the late model stock car race on Friday night of All-Star Weekend from North Wilkesboro on FS1 with Flow Racing. So you can still watch it on Flow. You can watch it on FS1. Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick, co-owners of that series, are going to be in the booth. That'd be a cool night for short track racing. Really makes me think we're getting closer and closer to it being this, like the Hooters Pro Cup of what it stemmed from many, many years ago.
Oh yeah.
So you guys would be too young, but back when
I've seen some
Channel
stuff about it
was going on, every week you had, especially in the summer, Hooters Pro Cup on probably Thursdays. I want to say it was like tape delayed or whatever. Maybe sometimes they had live ones. I can't remember exactly. I think a few were live, and that series was just so cool. They were just at the most craziest short tracks, and racing so hard. And you had guys who you knew weekly were in it, and it just, I don't know, it was such a cool vibe. And I get those vibes from the Cars Tour often, but I think this is just one more step to that and being linear television, and hopefully it goes well. Hopefully they get good ratings, and I'd love to see it continue to grow because it's a cool series. We had Butterbean on, who was the champion from last year, on Monday. Cool dude who, through success in that, has gotten the opportunity to go to ARCA and do some truck starts and is on the path to NASCAR from that series. So it's good to see. It's good to see from motorsports.
I'm personally excited for a friend of the pod, Blake
Pod?
McCandless.
What pod?
Oh,
Show.
Well, we're a show too. Oh, this is news. Cool.
Yeah, it's all a show.
We're a show.
Yeah.
A friend of the show, Blake McCandless, who's been a color commentator for the Cars Tour for the last year and a half, and he's finally getting to go on to a major. Is FS1 considered a cable channel? Yeah. A cable channel. We'll call it a cable channel. Cool opportunity for him to go out there and do a hit road reporting. I know he's been working hard towards that goal of his. So
he did send me a very. I wasn't sure whether to take it as a compliment or he felt like my life was probably going badly at the moment. But those that don't know, Blake is my pit spotter when I've been pit reporting for NBC the last couple of years. Does a good job with it, which a pit spotter is someone that we have as like almost like a producer on the ground who's helping us in terms of managing all the inflow of information from teams. So, you might have 15 cars you're covering and he might go and run down and get information on one, or I might tab him as 3 things are happening and say, hey, go talk to those guys, figure out what's going on there. I'm going to go focus on this, or I got to do a hit, that sort of thing. Or he'll talk to teams for me, that sort of thing. He asked me to be his pit spotter for that broadcast. One, I can't do it. Two,
Oh,
I was like,
so fun.
Oh,
man,
you gotta
I'm not
do
sure.
it.
I'm not sure whether to be flattered or feel like something's gone horribly wrong in my life.
It's
So,
like take your parents to school day. You just
Yeah.
come on, go out there and do it. Like do a little.
Yeah, it's like
I think he thought I'd run into a rough patch or something.
no.
Like, I
He's doing
needed
it
to
out
work.
of respect.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's like having your karate coach, come to your karate beat.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. There's
come on,
sensei.
Parker.
Yeah.
Don't.
All right.
Yeah, everybody
You
knows.
do it that
everybody knows
way.
karate, dude.
I was
Come on.
like, hey man, that's cool. I appreciate it. I'm fine. I was like, things are going okay over here.
Did he offer to pay you?
That
He
wasn't
should have
mentioned.
offered. He should have. He should have
couldn't
been
hit
like,
my day rate. I don't think.
oh.
So
Like, I'll buy you
I'd
dinner.
be
Buy you
surprised
dinner.
if he can. But I was like, hey man, I'm very happy for you, very very happy. But that good, you'll crush it. But I was also like, okay,
Like, contact us.
things are okay
We'll
over
send
here.
Josh. We'll send Josh.
I'll
and
shoot him.
Parker's-
I
I'll shoot
actually
him. I'll
did.
shoot him. I'll shoot him a
So-
link right now and tell him to hop on the pod, and then he can explain himself.
No,
Oh,
not this second.
show.
No. So my next text was, hey, why don't you just ask Josh? So
Was it really?
What's it really?
I was like, hey, ask Josh. He'd love to do that.
I'm not flying across the country to run around in
Oh wow.
a garage.
See, and you thought I should be doing what? In the
You're
wide
not
world?
flying across the country.
I
Come
have to get on
on.
a plane somewhere.
Yeah, you're like you're probably be in Charlotte
You'd be
that
there.
week anyway. You could just drive
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
Want me
where I
to
am
fly
every day.
from California to Charlotte, then hop in a car and drive for 2.5 hours?
You know what I've learned is you're just not dedicated to the game.
Oh, okay. As I go down to Long
Oh.
Beach next week.
You're not dedicated to the game. It's just obvious.
Or have you ever even been to Long Beach?
Yeah, come on.
I have been to Long Beach.
You have for the
2007.
race?
Yeah, I was working on a team for a
Really?
Got us.
So you
Yeah.
got paid to go there.
No, I was trying. It was the team I had driven for in Formula No in 2006, and I had no
Ah.
money. And so in 07, I tagged along trying to get an opportunity as young race car drivers do. So I don't know if I really did anything, to be honest. I legally wasn't even allowed to work, so who knows? But I have been to Long Beach. I remember it vividly. So very cool time. You'll love
I
it.
kind of want to. I wish I had known Parker pre-21 because I feel like you would have been like, I really want to go partying, but I can't go. So let me whip out the fake ID and run around or whatever.
Whoa.
I feel like I'm not that far off.
You're close. There is a bar in Charleston that has an ID of mine that may or may not be real. I didn't say it. No, a friend made that. And it's not legit at all. Moving on. Formula One heads to Suzuka this weekend. Japanese Grand Prix. We've talked about all that, but something fun that came out was Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda doing a run through in Tokyo with an RB7 and an RB, was it 16B?
RB16B, yeah.
And the difference in size, if you're watching on YouTube, we can't show you this visually if you're just listening on audio, but we appreciate you. But the difference in size, we talk about this often, that how F1 cars have just grown massively, and it's a great illustration of how much bigger these cars are over the last 10 years. So it's a shame. That's why Monaco and such doesn't work so well.
Excuse me, but are all those things in the fence? Are those camera lenses people are sticking through?
I'm pretty sure that's cameras.
There's a
That's
couple
so
of
many
there's a
cameras,
couple of
dude.
hands.
It's
in
like
there,
hundreds
too.
of cameras.
Yeah. Yep. Everyone's got a camera on their phone, buddy.
It's
Welcome to
crazy, dude.
2025.
F1's blowing up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are like
People care
legit
about it.
cameras.
Did you know that people care about it?
Apparently,
kinda
it's
a big deal now.
popular.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
It's just
I love the top comment. Look at the top comment on it. It's the NASCAR Garage 56 car.
no way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Reddit post for anybody who's wondering.
Oh yeah, sorry, this was a Reddit post. Oh yeah, with the Garage 56 cars in the photo with all the cars at Le Mans,
Yeah.
and it's just like towering over them like an SUV.
That's funny.
What the is a kilometer? That's all you gotta say. IndyCar news. Prime Video is going to sponsor Kyle Larson in the Indy 500 Coca-Cola 600 double. They're also going to make a documentary. They did film this last year's, but with everything that went down, they pushed it a year and are going to combine it into this year's, where hopefully it'll all go correctly. He's got a chance to do it in terms of winning, for sure, if McLaren's as fast as they were last year and as fast as he was. And hopefully the weather plays along this time and he doesn't have to make a choice. I will say this. I have it on good authority. He's coming back to NASCAR this time, but we'll see.
That's what they said last year. Not buying it.
I know.
They
Well,
said it numerous times, including the week of, and then they're like, "Nope, we're finishing the race, buddy."
maybe I think they said it the day of.
I think they might have, yeah. Yeah, you
If
might be
rain
right.
is remotely on the calendar for either one of those events, you better start.
I mean,
bringing
if it's for the 600, it's fine, you know. You
Yeah,
just
that makes it easy.
go the next day. It'd be perfect. Be
I
the
hope
easiest
it all
double
works
of all
out.
time.
I want to see him do.
I wouldn't even
both.
count as a double at that point.
I think he's one of the few drivers, maybe Tony Stewart, who had done it, was in this position where he could win both. That car, if he had gotten in it and it ran, all the way through, Justin Allgaier was insanely fast in that car
Yeah.
on that day.
Not being in an X Gen and forever, or even at all. I don't know if he just had driven one at that point.
Yeah, he finished like 13th or something. He was incredibly fast. So
Yeah.
he could win both.
Did he come
That'd be
back from like a
insane.
lap or two down too? Am I
Yes.
remembering that wrong?
I think he did
yeah.
from a lap down for sure.
Yeah.
So no, he did a great job, and I just think that showed you how good that 5 car is, and just he could do it. He could absolutely win both. That would be just insane. We mentioned we had some comments out there before we go. This is from Renee. 4 days ago, PK is me when my son talks about gaming, Gen X versus Gen Z. I'm assuming talking about Sam Mayer and his
Yes.
Minecraft
Yeah,
addiction.
probably.
You guys,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, just
You
anything
love
that
saying,
AJ and I laugh at, you're pretty confused on. So
you
I'm
love saying
so
Gen
with the
Z
times
about
too.
everything.
No.
And we're not even Gen Z, by the way. Me and
Yes,
Josh.
you are. You're
I think we're in the
1000%
same gen
Z.
that you were in.
No,
Yeah.
you're
I'm not
not
technically
millennials.
Gen Z.
No, you're
not-
definitely Gen Z. How old are you now?
Oh, we
I'm
gotta look this up.
27.
Yeah, you're Gen Z.
No,
What
That's
years
not the
are
cutoff.
Gen Z? 1997 and 2012. Dang it! We are Gen
but
Z.
there's multiple.
See?
There's multiple. People say Gen Z starts in 2001.
No.
Oh, this isn't like a regulated.
There's no
This isn't like a
regulation to it.
regulated
It's just too.
Dude, I
It's,
thought they had, like,
whoever wrote it
national
has a
generations
prerogative. I
board.
bet you Parker wrote that and trained the Google AI
Guys,
to do that one.
Parker, why are
Guys.
you messing with my AI?
guys. Hey. You're Gen Z. That's a good thing. We need you here. There's not a lot of you that have been into motorsports. So you're helping those people come in. Those Gen Zs. Gen Zeros. I'm sorry. That's not a good joke.
Well, if more of you, whatever gen you are, people would play Minecraft, maybe more of us would come watch NASCAR. You know, and you start playing.
There you
then
go.
come down to our
That's
level.
the
all right?
trade-off. We got to go play Minecraft. You guys come watch motorsports and NASCAR.
I want Dale Jr. to stream Minecraft, and I'll buy tickets to any NASCAR race right now.
Love it. We have had a lot of great comments on Monday's episode, but some of them are haters. They're hating on our thumbnails and our discussions, and I'd just like to say, we ain't gonna change.
What'd they say?
Oh, mostly just things about Parker not understanding Minecraft memes and whatnot, and calling him old. Actually, I'm just lying. It's not.
Wait,
That's not what was said.
These guys, I can't trust them. Boys, that's it for the group chat this week. I
do
we're
have
good.
a fun motorsport if you want.
Oh, you do? Well, it's not in the notes.
I'm sorry. I didn't put it in the note. I wanted to surprise you guys.
I did put the picks in the notes, and you just again after Monday skipped over
my
them.
picks.
No, you
gotta do your
didn't.
picks.
We gotta do our picks. Jesus, this guy, I swear.
Oh, picks.
AJ, while you're getting that fun motorsport,
I don't even know where NASCAR's at this weekend, dude.
it's at Darlington. It's easy.
What? Is it actually a Darlington? There's no way Darlington's ever this early in the year.
Yeah,
Is it?
There's a spring Darlington.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with
Come to
me.
Money Lap, the most informed people.
Darlington's this weekend.
Yes.
No wonder everybody's
Motorsports.
putting
Get your fun motorsport. I'm gonna do my
I
picks.
honestly was wondering why everybody was doing the throwback paint schemes this week. Okay, here we
Oh
go. I'm
my
gonna link it to you.
So for Xfinity, I'm going Christopher Bell. Me and Landon are in agreement there. For Cup, I'm gonna go Kyle Larson, and then for F1, I'm gonna go Oscar Piastri.
All right. I already gave my
All right.
picks. I can't remember what they were, but on Monday, if you go listen to Monday, I gave my picks.
I
pulled them
have
up for you.
Reddick.
Okay.
Reddick winning the Cup race.
That was Parker's pick as
Xfinity.
well.
Oh, hey, great
Hey.
minds think alike.
I love that.
Xfinity, I will take. I'm gonna do something fun. I'm gonna do Sammy Smith. I think he's gonna bounce back. It's gonna be like Jeff Gordon in 2012
Wow.
when he right hooked Clint Boyer. He's gonna win
Mhm.
the next week. Sammy Smith. Formula One. Wait, is trucks racing?
No, trucks are not racing.
There's no truck on my list. Okay, Formula One. I'll take Max Verstappen.
Okay, so
Hey.
you have 2 out of the 3 picks that Parker got.
Yeah.
Well, Parker's
Great
just
minds
smart.
think alike. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Parker picked Allgaier though.
Unfortunately, you and Landon aren't smart as me and Parker.
Yeah, you
So
guys just don't understand game.
you wanted us to look at this right here.
Oh!
Yeah, dude.
This is okay. So those listening, this is pocket bike racing. I had one of those.
No way.
Yes, pocket bikes. Oh, this is the coolest thing ever. So these are just like
Yeah,
mini
Google Pocket Bike.
sport bikes that run on little 2-cycle engines. And I had one. It was a chrome one. Bought it on eBay from like China, of course. And it worked for like 3 times. I rode it those 3 times. It was horribly terrifying because it was so badly built. But it had a chrome bodywork and everything, and the slick racing tires. And I was convinced I was going to like go become a MotoGP star.
Dude, they go kind of fast too. They're like going like maybe like, show like those crappy go-karts you go to that are electric.
Yep.
They're
This
like
is
as fast as maybe a little slower.
But like, no, those are as fast as go-karts, really. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
that's
same
pretty
type
fast,
of motors.
yeah.
So
I feel like I've seen a YouTube video of like several people riding these through like a Walmart. Are they
Dude,
jumping?
dude, these are
Well,
so cool.
it
These are
wasn't
way
a jump,
nicer
it was
than the
just like
ones
a
I
little
was
lump
on.
in the track.
Oh, he lost one.
Oh,
Dude, he got
man.
going so quick.
He did. He
yeah, I
just
think
picked
these
it
are
up and kept going.
proper ones.
These are awesome. Pocket bikes, so cool. They like in Italy and such, they in the documentaries they show this where the kids start for motorcycles, and Valentino Rossi raced them. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
you can get them with
crazy.
like the MotoGP schemes on them and everything. Super cool. Love those. Love pocket bikes. So great find, AJ. Once again,
Thank you.
expanding our
back
horizons in
next
the
week.
motorsport world. Little did you know I knew so much about it.
I'm
Still
so
no
in tune with this
e-scooter
race.
news, by the way.
No.
Still no e-scooter news, so
Oh.
I didn't bring any.
We got it. E-scooter. Come on. Get your
Where do
stuff
they-
together.
Where do they put the transponder on these bikes?
Oh my
The
god.
transponder's got to be like 3/4 of the size of the bike.
Anyway. All right, boys. This has been fun. Great Wednesday group chat. Thanks for joining. Thanks all for listening and watching. We'll be back with the Money Lap on Monday. See you then. Peace. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.